Most people think my room is full of garbage and trash, when it's really just organized chaos. I know where everything is, and all it needs is a little dusting. None of it is actually dirty, nor actual garbage. I have my games stored in a drawer, I have my consoles in a box as they've been collecting dust due to the lack of use. The last time my PlayStation 4 was on was for the Crash Insane Trilogy review, and I don't think I'm turning it back on in the foreseeable future. Unless I get that new Spider-Man game, because that does look pretty cool. But unfortunately for that game, my money's going towards Shadow of the Tomb Raider next week. As I look at my physical game collection, I can't help but think, these take up so much space. But then I watch people like Alpha Omega Sin, Pro Jared, Cat Icarus, or the Angry Video Game Nerd, with all their games in the background. I can't see myself having all that in my house. I don't have much room to store all those games. I don't have an actual basement or a rec room, just a garage and a crawl space. I game mostly on my PC due to so many games being cross-platform, except for Nintendo and Sony exclusives. And right now, the only console that I have that's not in storage and is set up, because right now that's the only console that's holding my interest. The thing is, physical media and the things needed to play that media take up space. And if you like collecting that kind of stuff, more power to you. I'm not bashing game collecting at all. I have so many figures and toys sitting on shelves, so I'm not one to criticize anyone who collects things. But no, this is about the fact that a lot of AAA games have literally become and continue to become trash. I'm not saying they're bad, I'm saying they are literally garbage. Every time a new AAA game comes out and it's a sequel to one that was released the previous year, everyone, collectors excluded, trades in the old version to GameStop or whoever takes in trades for pre-orders to get the new version. And then the resellers put those used copies back on the shelves. For really no reason, they're obsolete. The player base will be diminished significantly, so matchups will take longer. Look at Battleborn. They rushed it out to try and beat Overwatch, which already had an established player base, and not long after Overwatch was released, Battleborn was done for, and it was abandoned for Overwatch. Battleborn isn't getting any more updates, and who knows when they'll shut down the servers, as right now there's a skeleton team just to maintain the servers and fix critical bugs that pop up. But there's all these used copies of Battleborn lying about GameStops that won't be selling. But let's use a more popular game for this. Call of Duty, a game series that probably creates the most trash out there. I remember when Modern Warfare 2 came out. There were so many used copies of the first Modern Warfare clogging up the shelves of GameStops. The same thing happened with Modern Warfare 3, and pretty much every single Call of Duty since then. And the prices of those used copies dropped dramatically over a few months because there's an overabundance of them. You could pick up the older games for like $5, unless it was a really good one like Black Ops 2, which is worth more than Black Ops 3 apparently. Call of Duty World War II is still $60 new, or $35 used, as people are still playing it, as Black Ops 4 isn't out yet. But once it is, you know people are going to take their copies of World War II to GameStop to trade them in for Black Ops 4, which, on a side note, will probably tank as it'll be a $60 game with no campaign, with a $40 season pass that won't be available to those who bought the standard editions until after the game comes out, unless you buy the $100 deluxe edition, then you get it right away, and of course it'll probably be stuffed with microtransactions because Activision just can't help themselves. But what happens to these games that get traded in? Is there some Toy Story-esque happy ending where these games that are no longer wanted find a child that'll take them in and play them forever and love them? No, it's more like Sausage Party. The games are taken into the back room, scratched up or smashed with a hammer if it's a cartridge, and then thrown into the dumpster. I don't think that the games could be donated to children's hospitals, as these are mature-rated games most of the time, and the hospital staff may not allow it. But I get the mentality that Call of Duty players have. It's a herd mentality. They think that to play with people online, they need to get the newest version of the game because everyone is going to migrate to the new one. But there's no reason to have all these discs. Most people have high-speed internet if you compare population density and broadband availabilities. If you live in an area with slow internet or data caps, then yeah, buy the disc. But if you have no caps and have high-speed internet, why buy a disc that you're just going to trade in? In the 7th generation, when they started putting full games up on digital storefronts, they discounted them by $10. When Sonic Generations was coming out, I pre-ordered the PC versions for $10 or $15 cheaper. Same with Sonic Forces. but now they're not discounting digital versions of games. And for those of you writing a comment about, what if the servers go down, then you can't re-download your digital game, or if they do XYZ, so you can't play your digital game? Well then, more than likely, you will not be able to play your physical copy either. You don't own the game. You never did. You own a license to play it, and the game companies can easily send out an update that invalidates your physical copy's key. How many stories have you heard of people cheating online in a game and then getting blocked from it? Microsoft can ban your console from accessing online content. You don't think that third parties could do something to make it so your physical copy will not work? Come on, let's be real here. It doesn't matter if the servers go down. It doesn't matter if it's digital. It doesn't matter if you have the physical copy. If they don't want you to play it, they'll find a way. However, since there are laws in the US that prohibit the expiration of digital currencies bought with real money, like microtransactions in games because it's considered a service, you can make the argument that your digital game should be working no matter what due to the fact that you technically paid for a service. And now that's out of the way. Game companies make more money from microtransactions, and I forgot which one it was. I want to say it was Activision. They said they made more money off of Call of Duty World War II's microtransactions than the actual sales of the game itself. Correct me if I'm wrong. But my point is, if you follow these investor meetings that the game companies have, watch how they report their revenue and profits. So why don't they just make the games free to play with microtransactions? It's Call of Duty. It's going to sell. It's not like they wouldn't make money from it if they made it a free-to-play online shooter. So why don't they discount digital? It's very clear that publishers want to control the sale of games. They want to prevent the sale of used games. They want GameStop out of the picture. So why don't they discount digital sales? It would be an incentive for people to buy things digitally, and it would cut the cost of manufacturing all those discs, cases, printing those case inserts, and shipping the physical copies to retail stores, because they would have to do less of that if they discounted digital. And that, in turn, would cause less trash when the next game sequel comes out.